There's just so much.
You're listening to a Mamamia podcast.
Mamamia acknowledges the traditional owners of the land we have recorded this podcast on, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present, and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Hello and welcome to Cancelled. I'm Jessie Stevens.
And I'm Claire Stevens.
And this is part of our series, the second part of our two-part series on Meghan Markle, a woman who the royal family has been trying to cancel since she married Harry and also before.
Yeah.
Last week, in case you forgot, we talked about how the Queen thought Meghan was a shit royal for reasons such as fruitcake at her wedding. And she refused to birth her placenta on the stairs of the Lindo wing, like Kate did.
Disrespectful.
And Diana. We also looked at her family, can't stop leaking Markle. And her fight with Kate Middleton, which seemed like a real media beat-up until it turns out they're really not speaking. Also, the avocado incident that ended with Meghan being called a murderer. Today, things get even more juicy.
Oh no.
I mean, that's the sad irony of the last 4 years is I've advocated for so long for women to use their voice, and then I was silent.
Were you silent or were you silenced?
The latter.
My structure is as follows. The tide it be shifty. The time Meghan split up the royal family, which has been running for over 1,200 years. Last week I said 700. I hadn't looked it up yet. That's today's episode. The palace leaks about Meghan the bully, the Oprah interview, and finally, Meghan's relaunch.
Wow, you've done a lot of research. I'm proud.
It's been really busy.
Yeah.
And producer Rose is upset because of all the different fonts that have been used.
In your
Because some
doc.
of it's a quote. So I copy it from an article and I put it in. That's Times New Roman.
You got some plagiarism going on.
And then I've got some Arial. We have so much to cover I can barely handle it. Claire, today I would like you to play the role of a bitchy queen,
I can do that.
who I think is the #1 Meghan canceller and is likely in cahoots with Piers Morgan.
Yes. Well, I feel like I relate to the royals who feel a bit disrespected because I've also been disrespected.
by Meghan.
Meghan's like, I didn't enjoy my time with you in Sydney.
Just like she said to the Queen, I didn't enjoy being part of the palace. I'm leaving.
I get it. I
You
get
feel
it.
rejected. At times, you can also be Piers Morgan if you like.
All right.
A disclaimer, haters will say we don't have a team of researchers.
Haters.
We just have Jessie on her lounge at 9 p.m. thinking about how she personally feels about Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Somewhere. This will not cover every reason people hate Meghan, because some people hate her simply because she has the audacity.
Yeah.
There is a tweet with a picture of Meghan in a football stand and she's looking at her phone and it says, Meghan Markle with the audacity, and I don't understand the tweet or what the problem is, John. So I shan't be bringing it. I will only cover what I happen to come across by both chance but also time limitations. Let's begin. Claire, in the last episode we touched on when you personally met Meghan Markle in Australia.
Yeah.
Great experience for you. She hated it. But something happened around that time, 2018, that I want to discuss. In fact, it's a theory. Meghan did that tour with Harry and everyone loses their shit, including you. Mm-hmm. Australia loves her. Harry shook hands with that old lady who he shook hands with the other time, named like Dora or Darlene or
Doris.
And there was a special moment when Harry spotted an elderly lady in the crowd, 98-year-old Daphne Dunn, who Harry has met twice before on previous royal trips to Australia.
Everyone cries. They then go to the South Pacific. Equally as popular. Everyone gets excited. The royals are on the up.
I can testify firsthand there was a lot of buzz when I was at the Opera House and a lot of love for Meghan.
That was a turning point. Let me explain why it was a turning point. On Mamamia Out Loud a few weeks ago, talking to other host Holly, who is a royal expert, and she says that you cannot have a brand within a brand. So basically, you must be united. You cannot have one person within that brand who gets too big. Started to happen with Diana. People liked her too much. She was cut down, threatens the royal family. Meghan gets too big. Mm-hmm. There's too much excitement. The people love her. They love the Duke and the Duchess of Sussex. They're so pretty.
They're hot.
We have a disruptive force in the royal family, And her dad can't stop staging pup pics in Mexico, as we discussed.
It's distracting.
And her sister can't stop writing memoirs about Princess Bushy. Meghan Markle becomes the most famous person in the world, and the Queen is having none of it. Imagine, for example, you and I, let's say we have a brand, but then Jessie Stevens, I'm too big for the brand.
Yeah.
So I'm leaving you, the brand, behind. Do you understand how it could get complicated?
That feels hurtful.
I'm not saying Meghan is faultless. We will come to that. Her Spotify deal, I have comments. But this is the lens I want us to look at the next few years in, because the media turns. When Meghan is cradling her baby bump, it's pride and vanity, whereas when Kate Middleton did it, it was called tenderly cradling. Mm-hmm. Do you have any thoughts on the cradling of the baby bump? Remember there was those headlines, and it was how the media described what Kate did versus how the media described what Meghan did, and Meghan was always evil and Kate was always perfect.
Yes.
As the Queen, how did you feel about how Meghan touched her baby bump?
I feel like the fun thing about Meghan is that you don't have to have any filter or any sense of logic. So you look at her and you go, you're touching your bump too much.
Yes.
I'm going to be upset by that and comment on it. And it has become part of the culture now, because if I see a pregnant woman who's just very into being pregnant, I say she's gone full Meghan. She's gone full Meghan. She's touching her belly. She's really into her belly. How embarrassing.
Okay. So as the Queen, is there anything else you'd like to say about cradling? Whatever you say, it must be said in the Queen's voice.
You're not the first person to be pregnant. And it's a bit wanky to care so much when I have had potentially 4 children and I didn't make a fuss.
Okay. Interesting point. Reports start coming out about the wedding. Dictator Meghan wanted a special scent in St. George's Chapel. Turns out Kate did exactly the same thing. In that case, everyone was like, oh, what's the scent? That sounds lovely. For Meghan, dictator, like Putin. There are headlines like how Meghan Markle's wedding flowers may have put Princess Charlotte's life at risk. And it's like, okay, Charlotte planted that one. I know she called the media.
Oh, she did.
This gets so bad and so unbearable that in 2020 they leave. Which brings me to the time Meghan split up the royal family.
Breaking news in video published to his Sussex royal Instagram page. Prince Harry has just publicly addressed the decision by him and his wife Meghan to leave their royal lives behind.
It's January 9, 2020. I can't remember what we were complaining about, but in hindsight, it was insignificant. There are whispers of the coronavirus. It feels both far away and irrelevant. There were tweets that were like, we're only 2 weeks into 2020 and already we're exhausted. Bitch.
You got
Wait
no
till
idea
March. You wait till
what's
March.
coming.
But suddenly, at Sussex Royal on Insta, posts a statement. It is the beginning of the Great Resignation.
Yeah, it was.
They write, we intend to step back as senior members of the royal family and work to become financially independent while continuing to support Her Majesty the Queen. Blah, 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 blah. They want to split their time between the UK and North America and start a new chapter. And they basically just tagged at the Queen and at Prince Willie.
Hashtag fuck your family.
Hashtag my
you
uncle's a
will suck.
rapist. Yes. At Prince Andrew. Now, Claire, you're the Queen. According to reports, you didn't know shit. And all of a sudden, people are like, something's happening on the Instagram. And you're like, I don't believe it. What is your response to the fact that they let Instagram know before they pick up the phone and call Queenie?
Rude. I do think that it is somewhat rude to not tell Granny. This is what I will acknowledge. Was London cold? Yes. I'm sorry for that. Must have been quite uncomfortable. Were there ghosts
In the
places that you were living?
Frogmore Cottage, full of them.
Of course there were
Yeah.
ghosts. I'm also sorry for that.
I thought you were going to say, I'm also a ghost. I'm also a ghost. I plan to come back as a ghost.
I don't intend. I
Imagine
don't.
how many headless wives are walking around of King Henry. They're all walking around shitty that they lost their heads, can't rest in peace.
And Meghan's like, I didn't sign up for this.
No.
And look, I don't pretend that it's fun for people to hang out with your partner's grandmother.
No.
All the time. And I admit it would have been weird. You're in this cottage. There are people fucking lurking.
Yep.
everyone's referencing this weird-ass history you don't understand, and they're talking about Uncle Errol and Auntie Faye as though you need to know who they are. This is the thing. Many people think their partner's family is shit. But her thinking that his family was shit was something that hadn't historically been done. And he was hurtful to me.
Because what's hard is that Prince Harry is 35. And it's like, the fact he was 35 and wanted to become financially independent, why did it take so long? You need to move out. And you literally, he doesn't have a job, so he's like, Dad, I need money. And his dad's like, I have to ask Grandma.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only way for them to have
Because I
any
don't
money.
personally have any money.
No.
I'm still living at home.
They're all still living at home. Now, the Queen comes out. She makes a statement. And she says, although we would have preferred them to remain full-time working members of the royal family, shade, we respect and understand their wish to live a more independent life as a family while remaining a valued part of my family. This is where the shade comes in. Harry and Meghan have made clear that they do not want to be reliant on public funds in their new lives. Bitch is clipping up her purse.
Yeah.
And putting it in her pocket.
Remember Nan used to, say we were going up the shop and she said, can you get me
$5 bill, wouldn't she?
Yeah, she said, can you get me some milk and bread? And then every now and then she'd give you $2 extra. And she said, go on, you can get yourself a treat.
This is Nan going, no more treats for you.
No more.
No, you're leaving.
No more treats.
No, you don't want to be relying on the public funds. It was quickly termed Megxit. Meghan came, took this lovely red-haired vulnerable prince named Harry and made him ditch his entire family and move to the scum of the earth, LA.
Yeah.
Harry will go on for the next 2 years to say actually he was always going to leave, and the press murdered his mother and he wasn't happy and he was never going to be king anyway. As I said, he was 35 and he probably needed to move out of home and find himself a job.
At some point, yeah.
But the media will always say it was Meghan with her contour and her slutty nail polish. A year passes with Meghan being the most hated woman in Britain. It's like she doesn't even respect the institution that pillaged the rest of the world and literally put Egypt into their museums.
Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, there's the pyramid in the British Museum.
Yep.
And then they found other countries, most with Indigenous people, and said, we are better than you. Fucking curtsy, and here's a coin with my face on it. And live in a palace worth billions while 250,000 British people are homeless. Meghan said no to that. And they were like, well, how dare you?
Yeah.
So the whispers began. Meghan did meditate and she went, what's the most LA thing we can possibly do with our newfound freedom? And then Oprah knocked on the door and she said, we'll have a chat.
Yeah.
I called you either February or March 2018 before the wedding, asking, would you please give me an interview? And you said, I'm sorry, it's not the right time. Finally, we get to sit down and have this conversation.
Well,
The palace starts to panic because they know that there are going to be some bombshells out of this interview. What if they say they didn't like working here? And they talk about the time Charlotte ruined Meghan's wedding. What then? So a mole from the palace releases a bombshell letter thing to the Times. Do you remember this?
Is this the bullying thing?
The bullying letter.
Yeah, we love a bully.
Bullying allegations are our bread and butter.
And I like a bullying allegation that gets out of hand. So I love you've got a bullying allegation, you go, that sounds like it really happened. And then
The
it
Ellen
turns
DeGeneres
into
model of she poured boiling hot soup onto my face.
and spat in it and then kicked me in the nose and then I had to get reconstructive surgery. And you go, you know what? That didn't happen.
Yeah.
You're trying to get some attention on the internet, which
Yeah.
I understand, but we are making things up at this point.
Yeah. And these allegations, I mean, they're a bit hectic, but they're just interesting in light of kind of the narrative more broadly. So the Times UK publish a story saying that Meghan drove 2 personal assistants of the house out of the household and undermined the confidence of a third staff member. Apparently, nothing was ever good enough for her and she left staff shaking. Some additional details were that she was allegedly nicknamed Duchess Difficult.
Ugh, that's so British. Like, think of a better, like, if somebody's...
Like Duchess Dickhead.
Yeah.
Duchess Difficult.
Duchess Difficult. Princess Pushy. Fuck. Call her a cunt if she's a cunt. Like, far out. God, they're so posh.
I know, it's so annoying. It's like the worst thing they can think of. Duchess Difficult.
Oh, what does she want? like a warm tea. Apparently she sent 5 a.m. emails, which sounds like the kind of email we would schedule. So it looks like we got up early. Yeah, I think you're allowed to send emails at 5 a.m.
Just turn your notifications off. If you've got your notifications on at 5 a.m, that's on you. If she just wants it at the top of your inbox, get over it. The palace then responds to this leak by saying that they're very concerned about the allegations and its HR team will look into the circumstances outlined in the article. The statement added that the royal household has had a dignity at work policy in place for a number of years and it does not and will not tolerate bullying or harassment in the workplace. Claire, you're the queen. You want to do some explaining about the fact that you not only leaked this, but then responded to it?
See, that's what we call a 1-2 punch. Because what we've done, we have leaked the story and then the reaction makes it look like we didn't.
Yes,
all right?
exactly.
That's really the strategy.
Because it's like
there.
how horrific. We would never want such a thing to get out in the 2 days before the Oprah interview. We would never want bad PR for Meghan.
We'd never, and I can't believe she's been called a bully. And while she's been called that, we abhor bullying. We don't like it. We think it is awful. And we would never. Maybe that's why she didn't fit in. Because she was a bit of a freaking bully.
Well, the Oprah interview is about to happen, right? It's March 2021. There's been a pandemic. We are in the midst of it. There are a lot of worries generally. But everyone stops for just a couple of hours because there's something far more important we need to focus on. Oprah interviewing Meghan and Harry about the royal family being a little bit shit. These were the big takeaways. Meghan admitted she went into the royal family naively, which seems like a weird move, but okay. And no offence, but what a big fucking lie. It's not a bad lie, but it's a blatant lie.
That is what angers me. Taking my crown off for a second and taking off my personal offence from the time Meghan hated meeting me, I usually defend her a lot. But I do think she Googled Prince Harry.
I Googled Prince Harry 3 times this week. I'm not about to marry him, you know? I Google people I don't know. When I was dating, I would match with someone on Tinder and Google them. It's all you do. Because you don't want him to be that guy in New Zealand who murdered 3 people, you know? So you've just got to check. And the fact that she didn't sit down and go, oh, I'm going to watch a documentary about Prince Harry's mum, Diana, tonight. Like, I would have gone hard on just knowing everything.
She just keeps maintaining this, that she was naive about the royal family, but I don't know if you can be in the world.
I agree. Meghan hinted that it was Kate who leaked a fake wedding rumour. That's what we discussed last week. She said that there were rumours that Meghan made Kate cry and that they were made up, and in fact it was the reverse. She didn't understand why the story was never corrected, and maybe it was because it wasn't Kate that leaked it, it was Charlotte.
Yeah.
We should do another cancelled episode on Charlotte.
I know. She starts a lot of shit. So was it about the stockings? Did we get confirmation that it was about Charlotte's stockings?
No, she said out of respect for Kate, I'm not going to say exactly what happened, but she sent flowers to apologise is what happened.
Yeah.
Also, the other big discussion from that was that they wanted security from the palace and the palace was like, no.
They didn't want him to be a prince or a princess, not knowing what the gender would be, which would be different from protocol, and that he wasn't going to receive security.
Yeah, which is interesting because that's what the Queen was saying about you don't want to be reliant on public funds anymore, but you're still asking us to pay for your security, which you can't really do when you're not performing any royal duties. She told Oprah that there were concerns in the royal family that Archie would be too dark, and there were theories for weeks afterwards about who said it.
Hold up.
There are
Stop
several
right now.
there are several conversations.
There's a
about
conversation with you
it. With Harry
about how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
I think people immediately thought that it was Prince Philip and then maybe Prince Charles. Maybe some people thought it was the Queen. I don't know. Who did you think it was?
It's Charles. So it's definitely Prince Charles because there was a book released last year, I believe, that said that it was Charles, and that's kind of emerged as a narrative. And I just think if someone was accusing your dad of saying something horrible about his grandson and it was wrong, you'd correct it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was probably him. Claire, you're the bitchy queen. What are your thoughts on the interview? You're sitting in Buckingham Palace watching it. There might be a time delay. Maybe it's early, maybe it's late. What do you think about these Sussexes talking about your dirty laundry?
I think it's indulgent.
Yep.
I think do we need to share family secrets on the television? I think too much eyeliner.
Is that what you
I think Meghan wore too much eyeliner.
And her dress was very dark.
It was, and
She wouldn't have liked the contour.
No, I do think some pearls wouldn't have gone astray. I mean, everybody knows that I love a tiara.
Oh,
So I think she should have been wearing a tiara.
It doesn't have to be a nice one. Go
No.
get one from Colette.
No, and just a pastel 2-piece suit.
Yeah, with little handbag.
Yeah, that's my fashion style. So I'm just
Okay.
saying that I was a bit surprised that she wasn't wearing that. But in terms of the interview, I just think it's very American.
And all the discussion, and this was the other thing that came out, was that didn't she say that she'd had a miscarriage and also that her mental health had deteriorated and that when she asked for help in the palace, they didn't help? Discuss.
She asked for help and I thought she was a whiny bitch. That's what happened. I mean, you're not okay. You're not okay.
I've been doing this for 95 years. You don't think I'm tired?
You don't think I don't think this is bullshit? I think this is a load of absolute crap. Do you know what I inherited? Look around. This country's fucked. But I just have to keep doing my job. And I'm old and
I can't
tired.
even retire.
All I want to do...
Literally should have retired 30 years ago. And she's just like hustling. Hustling queen.
I want to sit in an automatic chair that has a thing where I can push it back, and I want someone to bring
And
me...
a remote, and you want to watch some Dr. Phil?
I do. I want some tea and biscuits, and I want my grandchildren to generally sit in my vicinity.
And to discover the Netflix. She wants to discover the Netflix and go,
And
The Crown,
audiobooks.
it's great. Yes, little walks in the field.
That's what I want to do. Do you think I can do that? No. So I just think that
There's resentment.
this Meghan thinking that she can do whatever she wants is just a bit embarrassing.
Okay, let's get to Meghan's relaunch. And in fact, this is where I start having some problems that I would like to put on the table. Basically, she has to relaunch her brand since quitting the royals. Firstly, people are pissed that they haven't given up their titles. So they've dished on the royal family. They've said, we're not taking any of your money except we would like some for security. And also, I think Harry doesn't have a lot of money, so he would like some.
And also Meghan, she just isn't working right now. She's not working right now.
She's a young mum.
So if she could maybe just have like
a
70
pension.
mil, maybe 80.
Just some money, then that would be fine. They didn't mean being cut off.
No. And if they could just have just some royal titles, it doesn't have to be the royal title.
Because they still go by Duke and Duchess.
It
of
just helps
Sussex.
with their brand.
Yes. Even though they don't do shit, which is genuinely annoying. So Kate and William are like, we have to do so much to be considered the Cambridges of Windsor.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge.
Yeah, that one. And yet they're over there in LA, just like, what are you even doing?
Frolicking is what they're doing.
I see them on a bus, on a tourist bus where you go and see the celebrity houses. And Harry's like, oh, that's where so-and-so lived, that's where so-and-so lived. And they still get to call each other Duke and Duchess.
See, I think a lot about what they do in their day-to-day. And I reckon they're getting up in the morning, they're getting a juice.
Yep.
And they actually live in Santa Barbara. And their neighbours are Gwyneth Paltrow and Oprah. And I don't think they're working very hard.
We'll get to that. They have their foundation called the Archie Well Foundation. Great. What do they do, you ask? First, I'm going to read you their slogan.
Okay.
Shared purpose, global action. Claire, what does the Archie Well Foundation do?
I forget.
Okay. This is their purpose, which might help clarify.
Okay.
Our core purpose is to uplift and unite communities, local and global, online and offline. One act of compassion at a time.
Okay.
Claire, I repeat, please explain to me what the Archie Well
I want to
Foundation
start
does.
a company. My tagline is, we do stuff.
No, we do stuff, comma. Good. Question mark. Put the question mark there because then you don't actually have to do good.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, I like uniting in compassion. I can't fault it, but I do not know what they do.
There's a lack of specificity there.
It's about communities, how and what online, but also global, and what acts of compassion specifically.
What communities?
Where are they, Claire?
Whom? And for why? And for what passion?
Yes, specifically. So this is a brand issue. In 2021, Meghan published a children's book called The Bench.
Okay, can I weigh in with a comment?
Yeah.
Mum says it's shit.
Mum went into Target, she opened it, she flipped, and she went, this is a piece of shit. And she was mad.
And she said Andy Lee's is a lot better.
She did say that. Would you like me to read a 4-sentence excerpt?
Yes.
This is your bench, where you'll witness great joy. From here you will rest, see the growth of our boy. Okay, a lot of people on Amazon say it doesn't make sense. Like, adults don't understand the plot.
Okay.
Apparently the plot is really difficult to follow. It's something to do with a mother watching a father and a son's relationship. Already too many steps. Mm-hmm. Also annoying, it says The Bench on it. And then the author is Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex. No. No. You're not the Duchess of Sussex. You stop it.
You're Meghan Markle.
You're Meghan Markle. Or Meghan, I don't know what Prince Harry's last name is.
Windsor?
I'm going to go Windsor. So go Meghan Windsor or Meghan Windsor Markle or whatever. Put the two names together, but you are no longer Meghan the Duchess of Sussex. You're trolling the Queen at this point. Last year it was announced that she and Harry had a Netflix deal that came to something of the amount of $100 million.
It's a lot. That'd keep you going for a bit.
As part of that Netflix deal, Markle was the creator and executive producer of an animated series named Pearl.
And Jess, have you seen it?
No, have you?
No, because it didn't get made.
It got cut.
It got cut.
In the development stage.
Sorry, we shouldn't make fun of that.
No, but we should, because I'm going to tell you what it was about.
Okay.
It was animated. It was all about the adventures of a 12-year-old girl inspired by historically influential female figures. Is it good for people? Yes. Do I want to watch it? No. Give me a murder.
Unless Lin-Manuel is writing the music for it. Like, Encanto was already made. Do you know what I mean?
I don't have time for historically influential female figures. I'm a feminist. I love it. But
I ain't watching it.
I ain't watching it, which is why I got cut. Question becomes, does she have to give the money back yet? What if she spent it? This is where I get really mad. And it's to do with the Spotify deal.
I know.
$30 million. Her and Harry.
Again, keeps you going for a little bit.
Were paid by Spotify to make a podcast.
We were paid 30 mil for this podcast.
Yeah. The difference is
30 mil.
No, the difference is we have a playlist of podcasts.
We make
Allow
podcasts.
me to explain. They have something called the Archewell Audio.
That's a terrible name.
I know. It's like their podcast company. In December 2020, they launched a trailer, which went for 1 minute, and then a 30-minute episode, which was a holiday special, and I didn't really understand. Then fast forward 15 months. For 15 months, not a single drop in the Archewell Audio feed. 15 months passes, and they've dropped, then it's March of this year. March. And they've dropped the trailer for something called Archetypes. Have you heard about this?
No.
It's a lot like Pearl. It's a lot like Pearl.
Oh, no.
And that didn't go well.
Oh, no.
Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, explores stereotypes that hold women back. There's a 1-minute trailer, and as I said, that was dropped in March. At the end of that trailer, they say, coming soon. Claire, it's May.
Where is it?
It's May. Where is your podcast? I am furious. With $30 million, they have made 1 minute of audio content all year and 35 minutes of audio content in 18 months.
Say what you will about Joe Rogan. The man records some podcasts.
I'm pretty sure he was 30 mil. Maybe 60 mil.
You'd be
maybe
annoyed.
300 mil. I don't know, but he was a few mil for Spotify. Imagine you're Joe Rogan and you're just like, I have released 800 hours.
But it's like, I haven't stopped speaking to a mic. Even when I'm asleep, I keep speaking.
800 hours a week of just him going blah, 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 blah. And the guest is like, I have somewhere to be.
And everyone's like, you're peddling COVID misinformation. He's like, I haven't stopped talking.
It's like
I'm peddling a lot of issues.
Eventually, I'm a peddle some vaccine misinformation when I've run out of topics. You know who hasn't run out of topics?
Meghan, because she hasn't spoken about one.
Where's Archetypes? She made it sound, you know what? This sniffs of Caroline Calloway, the scammer. You haven't made it. Because the trailer was very like, she's actually got a great voice for podcasts. And she's like,
I'm Meghan, and this is Archetypes, the podcast where we dissect, explore, and subvert the labels that try to hold women back.
2 months have passed. I want to say something, and it might be controversial. I think it might upset some people.
Okay.
We've talked on this podcast before, Jessie, about how some people like to announce things.
Some people like to create.
People like to create. Harry and Meghan like to announce. They like to announce, we're leaving the royal family.
Oh my God, they love an announcement.
We're
pregnant.
We're pregnant twice. We have a Netflix deal. We have Spotify deal.
We're talking to Oprah.
We hate the royal family. They're horrible.
But they never follow through.
But they just don't have the content.
A lot of follow through.
Yeah, they're not here for...
Okay, I'm going to say it. They're not content creators.
No.
And this is the problem. They think activism is a full-time job and it's not.
Well, it would be...
If they were doing
if you. But there's not a lot of doing much. Is there? I think there's a lot of bitching to Oprah over the fence. I think it's Meghan being like, and then the Queen did this freaking annoying thing.
And Oprah's like, I
told
get
me.
it, but you need to work. You need some employment. Because what you did, and don't get me wrong, I love a deal. Sometimes you'll get into a room and it's like, with this idea, and you go, yeah. And then you sit down and you realise you have to execute it.
Yeah.
Worst feeling in the world. I don't doubt it. Sometimes you get paid before and then you realise I'm going to have to do this and I wish I didn't. I appreciate that.
I had passion in the moment, the passion is gone.
Which is how Meghan feels about archetypes. Probably the axing of Pearl didn't help with her
confidence.
motivation.
Yeah. She's like, the show I wanted to make got axed, so I'll take that same concept and turn it into a podcast.
I have made 600 episodes, some of it shit, since Meghan got a $30 million Spotify deal and made a 1-minute trailer. I can't. Okay, charges and sentences. Claire, please, your charge.
This is important, and it's from me as me, but also me as the Queen.
Okay.
My charge is this: being American in a distinctly British context.
Yes.
It's a bit annoying.
She's very American.
Bit selfish, bit look at me. It's a bit look at me.
That is exactly what it is.
Is how it is. And
whereas Kate's walking around like, oh, don't mind me. I'll just look down here and mother my kids. Like she's not about, she has none of that. Meghan has main character energy. It's not her fault. It's that she was born American.
Yeah, it is. That's it. Now, my sentence is this. Well, I have two kind of sentences. Sentence part A is get a job, any job. Get a job, any job. Go to the supermarket.
Okay.
Go to the juice bar.
Yeah,
okay? That you frequent. Yeah, but the second part is this. Go full American. Lean into the Americanness.
Okay, do you feel like she needs to be an influencer? Because the fact that I'm not seeing her morning juice, I'm like, why did we leave?
Yeah.
Why did we leave the palace?
I thought we left
so that resurrect our Meghan Markle blog.
I'm here for that. I want you waking up. I want your skincare.
Yes.
I want the products you're using for the kids. I want what movies you're watching, what books you're reading.
I want a TikTok dance.
I want product endorsements.
Yeah. You know how Oprah was like, were you silent or were you silenced? And it was like she was silenced or whatever.
It's like, well,
I thought it was from Insta. I'm like, well, now you have access to your Insta account again. Where is the content?
I think she needs to go full influencer, full American.
Me too.
I want her to have a mustard brand.
Yes. I want her to go full Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah. I want a Ricky Lake style show. Celebrity Big Brother.
Oh.
Let's just do some overexposure because you're suffering from underexposure right now.
I agree. Do Coachella.
And you oh my gosh, go to Coachella. Stop it. That's a great idea. I've just got here. I need more hustle in terms of output. And I know you're raising children, but that can wait. There's content to be created. And you know what? That goes for Haz too.
Haz is allegedly writing a book. Now that'll keep him going.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, I mean, I'm not a royalist, but damn, I'll be reading that book.
Yeah.
Okay, so if he can dish on royal secrets, he's got his thing. He's got his books, he's got his Invictus games.
She needs to write a book.
No, she did. They got terrible Goodreads reviews.
Let me rephrase. She needs to write a good book. That is a children's book.
But she's not a writer.
She needs to take photos of her beautiful face.
Okay.
It's exactly what she needs to do. Jessie, I want your charge and sentences.
Okay. So my charge is to do with the not Googling of Harry.
Mm-hmm.
That's really upsetting. As I said, I Google people I've never met.
I meet a new person. Hello. Sometimes I Google people as I'm speaking to them.
Let me just see who you are.
There we go.
Yeah.
Also, relatedly, not making that podcast yet.
Yeah.
That has really upset me.
It's really annoying.
What is my sentence? Bitch needs to change her title.
Okay.
I really can't have her still being the Duchess of Sussex. It upsets me so profoundly.
You're the Duchess of a place you don't live and refuse to visit. Like, you can't. You can be the Duchess of Santa Barbara if you want to. That's made up, though.
Claire saw me write this down as we walked into the studio because I didn't think of the sentence until I walked in. And she said, I saw that. And I said, is it funny? And you said, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't laugh, but that's okay.
No, it's funny, though.
I said she should be Meghan, Duchess of Suits. And I thought that was quite funny. Suits was the show she was on before.
I think she should go back to Suits because Suits ended when she left.
I don't know. Apparently she was number 6 on importance of characters on Suits.
I've heard that. That surprises me. She was pretty major.
Okay.
In the show. I'd say she was number 3.
Okay.
On the call sheet.
All right. Well, I think she needs to do something, but this was about them becoming independent, financially, cutting off grammar. Can't be calling ourselves Duchess of Sussex. Even Duchess of local juice bar. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy for her to keep Duchess. You just got to change the second part.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us for this 2-parter on Meghan Markle. We would love to know your charges and sentences, of course. Please share them. We'll be putting our evidence in a highlight that you can see
On our Instagram because, unlike Meghan,
we post.
we post.
And can make episodes, podcast.
Are they always good?
No. But it's about create.
It's about consistency.
It's about what we refer to as throwing shit at a wall. And Meghan needs to be throwing some shit at a wall. Okay? And stop getting deals. Our producer is Rose Kerr. Head of podcast is Eliza Ratliff. And we will be back next week.
Bye.
Bye.